Over the last week or so, my 3D printers have been running overtime, printing all of this awesome terrain. And today, I finally get to paint it. I'm Jacob from Painted4Combat, and let's get into it. Thank you to Forbidden Prints for sponsoring this video. If you've seen any of my recent videos, you'll be no stranger to Forbidden Prints, an awesome sculptor who creates some great FDM-ready terrain. And today, I've printed off a ton of models from their March release, Ruins of the Empire, which should be more than enough to fill out a full kill team board, if not two. So then, how did I get all of this printed? Well, let's take a look. I started out by bringing all of these models into Orca Slicer. Then I started sifting through which ones I wanted to get printed and started laying these out onto a few build plates. As with my previous video, FDM printing a kill team of orcs, I'll be using two printers. Firstly, the Bambu Lab A1, and secondly, the Neptune 4 Pro, both of which can easily fit any of these nicely split pieces of terrain. And it will be much easier to tell what's already been printed and what I still need to print if all of this is contained in one project. Not to mention, from this file, I can just swap between my printer settings and export each plate as the printers are ready for the next job. By the way, if you're part of my Patreon this month and maybe want to try out some of Forbidden Prints' files, you can find a few of their STL designs kindly donated as added extras for all of my STL tier supporters. And if you're looking to get your hands on even more of Forbidden Prints' awesome models, perhaps even with a discount, be sure to stick around for the rest of the video. When I was initially laying out these pieces, I tried to cram as many as I could onto each build plate, so that I could decrease the number of print jobs I needed to run. Do not do this. I very clearly overcrowded the build plate, which led to the first real major print failure I've had on the A1. And yes, to clarify, this is purely user error. What you should do is print a couple of models at a time, actually give the print head room to move, and all will be well. And from that point onwards, having learnt that lesson the hard way, all went well. Over the course of several days, with a total active print time of 77.5 hours, and going through 1.5 kilos of filament, these printers had printed some gorgeous looking terrain pieces. Everything that you're seeing in yellow is printed with Elegoo's basic PLA yellow on the Elegoo Neptune 4 Pro, and everything you're seeing in blue is printed with Elegoo basic PLA blue on the Bambu Lab A1. And if you want to get nerdy, both of these printers are equipped with 0.4mm nozzles and are printing at 0.2mm layer heights. But that's not the final step before painting. The keen-eyed among you might have noticed a few additions that I made to some of these ruins. While these are looking amazing, and they're fully ready for the table as they are, the hobbyist in me couldn't help but make the most of these ruined floor tiles, using just a little PVA to add some bits of basing gravel to further add to the ruin of this terrain, just to introduce some crumbled bits of stonework that have gathered in the corners of these decrepit buildings. And just like that, despite a few self-inflicted print failures, these printed up gorgeously and without issue. So, I reckon they're ready for a Rattlecam prime of the ever-trusted Rust-Oleum Slate Grey primer. But while I prime these up, let's talk a little more about the sponsor of this video, Forbidden Prints, and how you can get 40% off any of their files for the rest of the month of March. Forbidden Prints is an STL sculptor who creates terrain and other designs for wargaming and tabletop games, all run, managed, and artfully sculpted by a single person. Each of their gorgeous sculpts is made to print on FDM machines, with absolutely no supports required, so no need to worry about ugly overhangs or flimsy support material. Just slice the model and send it to your printer. And for the month of March, you can get 40% off their entire store, with the code Painted4Combat40. Forbidden Prints has a library full of designs for any setting, be it fantasy, sci-fi, Xenos, or grimdark, so I'm sure you'll find whatever design you need for your next game night. From the canyons of the pit, to the Hive's spiked forest, or you can check out their My Mini Factory Tribes for monthly releases, like their March designs, Ruins of the Empire. A vast collection of gothic ruins, perfect for any grimdark game night. Just print them off and clip them together, ready for paint or play. So, if you're looking for the next set of terrain for your army or heroes to throw down in, consider checking out Forbidden Prints over on My Mini Factory. All of their links are down below. And don't forget to use code Painted4Combat40 for 40% off their entire catalogue. Now that all these pieces are primed, we get to start adding some detail, texture, and further interest to these ruins. For the majority of these surfaces, I want a nice, muddled stonework look, but as opposed to dry brushing all of this terrain, I instead want to sponge on these rocky patterns. And rather than using a sponge as many people might, I want to use some of this packing fluff that one of my miniatures came packed in some time ago. While sponging can create nice big blocky patterns, this will hopefully introduce a few smaller lines and wispy cracks at the edges, giving a more natural stonework look. I did this just with a simple grey craft paint from the hardware store, and I find that for big projects like this where you're painting big models, craft paint is perfectly fine. You don't want to be tearing through all of your nice miniature paints if you don't have to. I'm making sure to hit all of the floor tiles, leaving some darker than others and even slightly patchy in areas. Then I'm hitting all of the flat walls, leaving the recesses a little darker and trying my best not to sponge too much of our light grey into the sculpted cracks, just to help exaggerate those details when looking at the models from afar. And I'm making sure to hit as much of that gathered gravel as I can, picking out all of the top points and making those added details nice and visible, dragging the paint over if I have to, almost like dry brushing with our fluff ball. Now it's time to add a little more interest and a bit more depth to all of this grey. Similar to what I did on my rocky bases for that kill team, I want to introduce some colour variation. For this, I mix up a thin wash of a blue-grey colour and apply this over some of the model, hitting pretty much every side of each piece with 2 or 3 small areas of this blue wash, and then going through again with a yellow ochre wash after that, hitting maybe 1 or 2 smaller areas on each side of the model. These colours will stand out a little from the grey undertones and just make sure that that stonework is a bit more than a boring flat grey panel, helping to add in some natural variation that you might see in aged, worked stone. One of the things that I really came to appreciate about these designs, and Forbidden Prints library as a whole, is that while very interesting, all of these terrain pieces are simple enough to actually be able to paint. Just because that's one of my biggest pet peeves when painting terrain, is when there's too many little details to paint that you're never actually going to finish the project. If I have 30 or 40 pieces of terrain that each have a bunch of stonework, a bunch of metal, little leather bits hanging off of pieces, and helmets or skulls in the recesses, gravel in places, dirt in others, grass coming out of buildings, it's just too much to actually be able to paint it all. But even though these designs look fantastic, they're a little more simple, allowing us to just really focus on 3 or 4 areas, 3 or 4 different colours or methods to really make these pieces of ruin pop. So, next up, I went through and picked out all of the areas that I wanted to be a nice silver metallic, base coating these with a pretty bright silver, knowing that I'll come back in later and darken them down. Adding this to all of the window frames, the exposed rebar, and some of the building trims. I then followed this up with a dry brush of that same silver over the metallic designs inside the window frames. Then a coat of gold went over the remaining trim under the windows and along the base of the buildings, just to add a little pop of a nice bright colour and a bit more saturation to the overall paint job. And now we come to the part of the paint job where it's time to pull it all together. To darken the recesses and muddy these metals, it's time to slosh a layer of black wash over each and every inch of these ruins. The wash I used was very thin, so I found the best way to apply it and actually get the effect I wanted was to paint a model with wash, leave it to dry slightly while I painted the next piece, and then come back to wipe off the excess wash with a paper towel. This just gives each piece a minute or 2 for that wash to start clinging to the surface, so that it doesn't get immediately absorbed the moment I get near it with a paper towel, and only takes the wash away from the areas I actually wipe down. I'm making sure to wipe as much as possible off of the big flat areas of wall, and the areas like the front of the window frames, but making sure to leave a lot of the cracks, crevices, and recesses filled with that dark wash. This helps to give the parts a bit more dimension, letting those recesses really sink away and to draw focus to the areas of detail and texture. And by leaving a bit of that wash between each of the elements, helps to separate things like the metals from the stonework, or to outline each floor tile, making sure that the paint job looks nice and cohesive, while still allowing each part to stand out. Then I came through with a light dry brush, just with a bit of a bone colour to pick out the last few details on the floor tiles and the little piles of gravel in the corners. Then a rattle can matte varnish went over all of the models, to seal in the paint job and to protect each piece for the many, many games that they will hopefully get used for. And speaking of getting used for games, I don't have the room to set up a game of Kill Team or 40k in my apartment, nor do I have the space to actually store all of this terrain. And frankly, I think there's some way that'll get way more use out of all of this terrain than I ever could. So, how about we package up all this terrain and go drop it off at the friendly local game store. As much as I'm sad to see them go, I know that at the very least they'll be getting way more use than they ever would collecting dust in my apartment, maybe being pulled out for a game of D&D once every 6 months. And I'm sure that they'll see some amazing games, and much more often, down at the local game store. Don't forget to check out Forbidden Prints and their amazing catalogue of FDM-ready terrain, as well as their March Tribes release, Ruins of the Empire. And don't forget to use code Painted4Combat40 for 40% off their entire catalogue for the month of March. Like if you liked, and subscribe to keep me popping up on your YouTube homepage from time to time, and if you're interested you can check out the Patreon Discord and monthly STL files down below. But most importantly, thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a good one.